when I started doing music full time, it wasn't because like I made a decision to. I got literally fired from like my security job. And then two, people are just way more appreciative when you're doing something that nobody else is doing, because like you're giving them a resource that they've never had before. But if I'm in a room like every single day just making music like a prisoner, it's like I might as well have just gotten like a regular job, because I've had situations with like labels where like they're trying to cheat you out the money. They're trying to make you feel like you're not worth what you say you're worth. They try to like ignore you.
W tym odcinku będę rozmawiał z Prodbyevz, czyli producentem i youtuberem ze Stanów Zjednoczonych. Znany jest on głównie ze swojego kanału na YouTubie i bitów w stylu West Coast. Porozmawiamy sobie trochę o jego historii i podzieli się z nami wieloma przydatnymi radami dla każdego producenta. No a na sam koniec zrobimy sobie razem beat właśnie w stylu West Coast, a do zrobienia całego beatu, zaczynając od melodii aż po perkusję, użyjemy Lunatic Production Suite, czyli paczki, której zrobiłem wraz z buffu. Także bez zbędnego gadania już zaczynamy. What's going on, guys? Today I'm with Infinite.
Oh, was I supposed to say something? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My bad, dog. Hey, what's up? I'm Infinite. I also go by Devin. And yeah, I'm here. What's up? I appreciate you having me.
First of all, tell me like how long you've been making beats.
Yeah, man. I've been making beats for about like 7 years at this point. Kind of getting unk status right now, bro.
And when you started your YouTube channel, you recently hit the 50,000 subscribers, right?
Yeah. I want to say I started like 2020-ish, kind of around the time of the pandemic. I was working a security job. I was like unsupervised for a lot of it. So I would just like watch Netflix or just like watch TV shows and stuff like that. And at some point I was like, dude, I'm tired of watching TV shows. Like there's only so much TV I can watch. So I would just like start making beats. I would watch tutorials. And then I kind of got to a point where I would start actually making the tutorials myself.
And like, would you say that in those times the content is really the cheat code for producers?
Oh, absolutely. Especially in my niche too. I'm doing West Coast. At the time, there was no one, like quite literally no one, who was putting out content for West Coast production consistently. Like there was like people who would do it, but it would always be like here and there, like maybe one video like every 3 months or something like that. But since it was such a dry niche, when I came into it, it just kind of took off pretty quick because everybody wanted it and nobody was really doing it.
Yeah, that's great. And like, why West Coast? Like, you just love making it, or like, what's special about it for you?
Well, first of all, like I live in the West Coast, you know what I mean? So it's like the sound my state has. So just the culture growing up in it, and then like making stuff that you're growing up around, just very natural. Like I'm sure if you ask someone from Atlanta why they make the music that they make, it's probably because like, oh, I grew up listening to Young Thug and Future and stuff like that. Like I grew up listening to like a lot of West Coast artists. I remember when I first started making beats, I started making like boom bap and trap and stuff like that. I was just making like anything that sounded cool to me. And then I remember one day I made a West Coast beat because like my sister needed it, but she ended up not needing it anymore afterwards. And I sold it to someone who I was going to college with. And I was like, whoa, like that was my first beat sale. And it was like a West Coast one. And I was like, oh wait, that makes sense. Like I live in the West Coast. Of course the people around me want West Coast beats. So I started making them more and more. And I just like fell in love with it because of like the bounce and just like how unique you can make the beat to yourself and everything. And it was just super fun to me.
And would you say that having your own niche is important for producers?
Yeah, 100%. Like the more you can niche down, the better, because you'll create like your own lane for yourself. And when you have your own lane, it's easier to succeed because there's like less competition and stuff like that. Like if I was trying to make like Juice WRLD type beats and tutorials and stuff like that, it'd be very difficult. Or like Nardo Wick type stuff, it'd be kind of difficult because like there's just a lot of it right now. But like I said earlier, like I niched down to like West Coast and there wasn't really anyone doing it. So one, it was easier to kind of like build a name for myself because there wasn't really anyone else doing it. And then two, people are just way more appreciative when you're doing something that nobody else is doing, because like you're giving them a resource that they've never had before.
Yeah, right, I agree. And right now, did you make a living of your music, and what's your main source of income?
Oh yeah, I am doing music full time right now, and mostly it's just around kits.
So you're selling more kits than like actual beats, right?
Yeah, for sure. I barely even post beats. Like I don't really put that much time into it. But it's always fun because like I do post them like sometimes, and then I'll just get like random like BeatStars notifications like, oh, you made a sale of this one. I was like, oh, that's cool. But I wasn't really really paying attention to it. I just threw it up and I just like forgot about it, and I'll just like get notifications. But it's very sparse in compared to kits.
So like you got content and kits, right? That's the main thing. And like, do you send out loops? You do other stuff? You network with bigger producers? What you do outside of the content stuff, the videos and kits?
Honestly, bro, I've mostly been putting all my focus into content and kits because I think making content and building your own platform is like the true independence of a producer. And I just love having the control that I have. It just makes me feel more safe in the space. But I did do the weekly loops for like a long time. I did it for like 2 years, and that's how I got like a majority of my placements. That's actually how I got Point the Camera, the little billboard plaque and everything like that. Was just doing like weekly loops and like loop kits and stuff like that. But I actually stopped doing weekly loops because when it came to like making money and stuff like that, it was just way more efficient to take all of those loops, put it into like a giant loop kit that has like 100 loops in it, and then just sell it.
It was more profitable for you at this point.
Yeah, 100%. Because like the weekly loops, I wasn't really making money from that. It was more of just like a means to get placements. But if you take all those loops, you put it in a big kit and you put it out, you put a demo out for free for like 20 of them, and then you sell the other 100, you can still get placements off it.
They're not royalty free, right? Somebody buys the loop kit and the loops are like, you still got the royalties from them, right?
Well, I'm personally selling them royalty free right now, but like you can do it like that though, for sure.
And like, because I saw once on your story and I gotta ask about it because it's really interesting to me. You got this situation with Not Like Us, right? With the Kendrick song. What's the situation? Because you deleted the story and stuff, but you said something about your MIDI being used for the hi-hats, right?
Yeah, so the Not Like Us record came out and someone DM me, is like, yo, that's your hi-hat MIDI. I was like, what the fuck? Like, that's my hi-hat MIDI? So I was like, okay, like, which one? So I started just like going through all of my hi-hat MIDIs and stuff like that, and I found one that matched up like 1-to-1, like down to the changes in velocity, volume, spacing, like everything was the exact same. So I ain't gonna lie, I got a little excited. So right when I noticed that, I was like, oh, co-production Kendrick, which when I look back at it now, like that was a little ridiculous because there was no actual confirmation behind it. I just saw that it matched up 100%, and I was like, oh snap, like those are my hi-hat midis. So I posted it and I was like, yo, I did this, and there was like a lot of controversy around it because like some people believed it, some other people didn't believe it. Mentally, it was kind of hard to deal with because I was like, do the people who believe me only believe me because they're a fan of me, or do the people who believe me only believe me like because like I'm friends with them? And then I was like, I don't know what to think, I don't know what to trust. Like too many things was going on in my head and stuff like that, so I just took it down because it wasn't worth it to me. I do still think my hi-hat MIDI was used, but there's no way I'm going to be able to get that confirmation. So I kind of took it down just for like mental health reasons because like it was just too much to handle at one time. Oh, but also I put out the hi-hat MIDI like royalty free. If I was going to like chase for credit or like a check or something like that, I definitely would have. But since it was royalty free, like there was like nothing to gain from it. So I was just like, I'm just going to take it down. Looking back at it, I wish I would have left it up more to interpretation because the way I phrased it when I posted it was like, hey, my hi-hat midis were used on Not Like Us. I wish I would have phrased it as, hey, here are my hi-hat midis that I released like 8 months ago. Here are the hi-hats on Not Like Us. What do you think? I wish I would have phrased it like that, and I feel like it would have went better if I did it like that, but it's life. It's all good though, bro.
Yeah, it is what it is. So going back to kits, can you share us some sauce? Like let's put it out in 2 steps. First step is like making a good kit. What's the tips for making a good kit? And second one is like marketing stuff, like how to promote it, how to really sell it in good amount, let's say.
So I think making a good kit, what you're doing is like essentially problem solving. Like any problems that you can find in your community, you should be able to relieve that with your kits. That's what I like to think. So like for instance, like West Coast beats, it's really heavy on like a lot of percussion and sound effects, and a lot of people get confused on where to put those sound effects down, like a stomp or a rim shot or DJ scratches and stuff like that. So what I did with some of my kits is I started making things called beat builders, which are like those percussion sounds but in a loop form. You feel me? So it'd be kind of like the drums but without the hi-hat and the clap and stuff like that. So you can get your melody, put down a kick, a clap, a hi-hat, and then you could put the beat builder down to like spice it up and add the West Coast flavor. So I think doing things like that definitely help with making a good good kit, problem solving. And also, I think something that a lot of people overlook when it comes to making good kits is making it a good experience using the kit and making like the interface of it really good. So like when you use it, everything should be organized really well. It should be really easy to find things, and you almost kind of have to like oversimplify it when you put things down and label things. Like you have to just make it as easy as possible for anyone to use it. So like let's say I have like a guitar loop or something like that. I'm not just gonna be like sunshine guitar loop 1. You feel me? Like I'm gonna be guitar loop C minor 140 BPM and then put like infinite at the end. You feel me? Because if you're selling a product, you want it to be easy to the consumer to use. If someone is using your guitar loop, they shouldn't have to try to guess what the key is. They shouldn't have to try to figure it out by pulling out FL keys and hitting notes and trying to find the right key. They shouldn't have to like try to tap out the tempo. Like label it all for them. Make it as easy as possible for them. So I think for making a good kit, those are probably like my 2 top things, other than like, just like making good quality work. So it's just making it very easy to use and then also like problem solve with it. And then when it comes to marketing, bro, it's honestly just like, just use it and show people how good it is. That's really all I'd be doing with it. Just show people how it is, because good work speaks for itself.
Yeah, that's kind of true. You gotta be probably creative with it.
Yeah, for sure.
So like going back to placements, you said most of your placements is from loops, right? Just from sending out those loops, not like you sending out beats, reaching out to rappers and stuff.
I mean, I've sent out beats to rappers and stuff like that before, and I've got placements like that, but that's like a small percent of like the placements that I have. You feel me? A majority of them are just like either weekly loops or putting out loop kits, or just like the homies asking me like, hey, bro, do you got any loops? And I'll be like, yeah, I got you. Like, here's a couple.
And like with your catalog of placements, is the royalties a thing? Like it is really some good percent of your income, or is it just like little bonus that doesn't really change a thing?
I feel like it's good income overall, but it's still like a smaller percentage to the kits. But that's just because like the kits are doing so well. It's not because like the royalties are bad, if that makes sense.
Yeah, right. So when it comes to being like hit maker, let's say, how often you should post those kits? Like you should do pre-launches, you should do promotion. How is the process? Like let's say you just made a kit, what's the process now?
I feel like for me, I do like once a month. I've seen people do more, I've seen people do less, and you can really just make it as successful as you want. It just depends on like how much work you're putting into it. But I just felt like the sweet spot for me in my life and everything is just one a month.
One last thing about kits, like let's say you put once a month, right? It's the same people that buy it, or you're just like not even noticing who's buying it and stuff? Because let's say somebody bought a kit from you for like, I don't know, let's say $25, and not everyone is making money of music and stuff. So like, do you expect them to buy another one, or you just like don't really track it, let's say?
I don't necessarily think about that too much. There is like a analytic on Shopify that you can look at where it'll tell you like your returning customer rate, and you can like look at that, but I don't really care about it too much because I'm always trying to get new people like as fans and stuff like that. I'm always trying to get new followers, always trying to get new subscribers. So I'm always trying to increase the pool of people who are purchasing kits. So I don't really trip about like the returning customer rate, but I do feel like a good returning customer rate is a sign that you're making good kits, though. I will say that.
Okay, cool. Outside of the Kendrick situation, do you had any more crazy situations in your career, let's say with your videos, maybe some people, maybe industry stuff, or like whatever?
Dude, honestly, not really. I try to be as removed from it as possible because like dealing with the industry stuff is like a huge headache. It's a nightmare and I do not like it, which is why I like doing what I do. It's just like a much better life for me, because I've had situations with like labels where like they're trying to cheat you out the money. They're trying to make you feel like you're not worth what you say you're worth. They try to like ignore you, like literally anything and everything. You feel me? Like to make sure that they can just keep all the money for themselves. But it's just like nothing in particular stands out. It's just a whole bunch of random BS. You feel me?
Yeah. So like, let's say at the level you're in right now, do you need a lawyer?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And what's your lawyer dealing with at this point? If you like not really working with those labels, let's say you don't have these situations often because you not focus on placement, from my understanding, right? So what's your lawyer dealing with right now?
Well, I mean, I only hit them up if I need something to be done. You feel me? So it's not like they're doing something actively every day. But like I do still get placements like here and there. I do still get contracts here and there. Not even here and there, but like at least every month. So if something happens, you just reach out to that person and be like, hey, can you look at this or something like that? Can you reach out to this person, take care of this situation? And then it's like just commission based.
What's the point where somebody should get a lawyer as a producer?
Just if anything happens, you feel me, when it comes to like contracts, because contracts are written in a way that only lawyers can understand. Like when contracts are made, they purposely use language and words that are hard to understand. They'll use a word called like in perpetuity, and you'd be sitting there like, what the, I don't know if I can curse, like what does perpetuity mean? It's like, oh, perpetuity means it lasts forever. Well, why didn't you just say it lasts forever then?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a completely different language. So if you ever have to deal with a contract, just get like someone to look it over. That's all I gotta recommend. You feel me? It's not necessarily like if you get to a certain point of something, you should get a lawyer. It's just like if you're approached with any type of contract and it's using those types of words and stuff like that, it's always good to get someone else to look it over just to be safe.
So like deals, placements, and stuff like that.
Placement, songs, anything that has to do with the contract. They can hide things in there.
They tryna screw you over.
Yeah.
And do you have a manager?
No, I don't have a manager.
And like, what's your take on it? Because a lot of people tryna get a manager just to say they got one and like be, I don't know, have this social...
Like an illusion that they're bigger, that they're
Yeah,
bigger
yeah.
than what they are. Yeah. Dude, I don't even know what a manager does, to be honest. For a majority of the time, I don't know what a manager does. But I mean, like, I don't particularly care about it or think about it too much because everything that I have going on, I can just handle myself. You feel me? I don't feel like I need representation like that.
Yeah, facts. As a content creator, like, you can probably deal with all of that stuff alone, I think.
Like, if someone else wants to get a manager, cool, bro. Good for you. Have fun giving away that 20% for things that you can do yourself. You feel me? But with that being said, like, there are definitely people who need managers. Bigger rappers like Cardi, like Playboy Cardi needs a manager. There's probably too many things that are going on that he cannot deal with day to day. But I feel like a majority of people can just take care of like what they need to do if you get to a certain level.
That's a random ass question, but you bought a Tesla of beats, right?
Yeah, I would say off kits, but yeah, for sure.
So that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was super dope, especially too because like I got fired from my job that same year. So when I started doing music full time, it wasn't because like I made a decision to. I got literally fired from like my security job, and I was like, well, let me try to do music full time.
You was broke at the time you tried music full time, right?
Nah, if I'm being honest right now, I think when I got fired from my job, I was making like 5,000 to 7,000 a month off of like kits and content creation and stuff like that. Cause like I liked the job. Okay, so let's just get into it real quick. Basically, the job, I would walk in and just kind of do nothing all day, and then I would be able to go work on beats on my lunch break. And the job was paying good, so like I would go in and kind of like BS work and like pretend to work and just kind of like get by. And like I got by for like 2 years, kind of like almost doing nothing every day. So I was like, well, I'm gonna stay here as long as I can. You know what I mean?
Till they
But
fired
yeah, but then
you.
they caught me and then they got rid of me, and I'm like, okay.
And like, what's your take on AI? Because we know it's kind of dangerous for us as a producer, like how it's gonna look like, how we gonna use it. Is it gonna replace us? Like, what's your take? What's your opinion? How do you see it?
I'm kind of just tired of hearing about it, to be honest, man. I'm kind of just tired of hearing about it and talking about it. I don't think it's going to replace us. And I think there's going to be laws put into place. I'm not an expert on it. I don't really know too much, but I've seen a couple things that makes me think that it can go a certain way. And I think there's going to be laws put into place that would kind of prevent it from replacing us, because with AI, it doesn't just make things out of thin air. It has to be trained off of certain things. So if you have a music AI that makes beats, it has to be trained on beats that are already present, that are already been made. And if you're creating something off of other people's works, how does that work with copyright infringement? You feel me? You're basically just taking everybody else's work and like switching it up a little bit and like making it with the AI and stuff like that. So like that just seems kind of sketchy when it comes to like copyright and like who owns that and who deserves to be credited and stuff like that. So I think it can get kind of messy, and there's probably going to be a law put into place because there's already lawsuits with other companies. I want to say Google or something like that is like suing ChatGPT because like they're basing it off of their search engines and stuff like that. And it's like, hey, no one gave you permission to do that. And yeah, I don't think it's going to replace anybody. There's probably going to be laws put into place that will prevent that. It's too early to really judge that and make that call.
And what's your best advice for producers right now now to build that brand, maybe get some placement, maybe go to the content route, whatever? Like, what's your advice for producers to build that brand nowadays?
Yeah, so I think really good advice is to have realistic expectations going into whatever you want to do. If you want to be like popping on like YouTube type beats, if you want to do content creation, if you want to do anything, just have realistic expectations on how long it will take and realistic expectations on how much work goes into it. And I feel like that can kind of set you up for success. Because like, for instance, like let's say you want to be like a big YouTuber. If you're thinking like, oh, I'll just post like every day for a year, I'll be huge, I'll be the next Metro Boomin, you feel me? Like it'll be kind of like that's not realistic, you feel me? But if you sit there and you're like, okay, I'm gonna put in a lot of work for 5 years, then like you won't be as discouraged when you get to that 1 year mark.
Yeah, right. And like people want this shit quick. Would you say that it just take years, right?
No, it takes a long time. Look, I feel like my stuff is just now kind of getting to a point where like it's like really good, and it's taken like 4 years. And from other people that I've spoken to, like 4 years is like pretty quick.
Yeah, like it's not that long really. And like, what's your goals right now? What's your routine? What do you do at the daily basis to really get everything done and achieve your goals, let's say?
Dude, one of my biggest goals right now is to have like more balance in my life. So I don't want to just be like locked in a room all day, just like making music 24/7. Because if that's the case, like what's the point of us doing this job? You feel me? Like I feel like one of the main reasons why we should be like producers full time is because like we're doing something we love and we can have fun. But if I'm in a room like every single day just making music like a prisoner, it's like I might as well have just gotten like a regular job with like benefits and something that's like more chill and stuff like that, where I can have more balance. So I've been trying to have more balance in my life. Like I'm trying to go to the gym more often. I'm trying to see friends more often. I'm trying to spend more time with my family often. But then at the same time, I'm still trying to elevate everything with music. So I'm just really trying to find more balance and then also hone in and be more efficient with everything. That sounds like the main goal. But in order to do that, it's just like scheduling stuff. You feel me? Get like Google Calendar, schedule everything out, or get like a whiteboard and make like a to-do list every day and just like make sure you're getting stuff done. You're not on your phone and stuff.
So you got like daily tasks and stuff, the things you gotta do every single day, you plan it out?
Yeah. So I've done scheduling everything out, like, okay, gym 7:30 in the morning to 9 a.m. and then come home, like eat 9 to 10. And then you feel me? Like I've done the whole scheduling it out time by time. And what I notice is that it creates like a lot of anxiety in my life, because like if anything messes up that schedule, like, or anything comes up, like, oh, hey, you need to pick your sister up from school.
It's
or
over.
like, hey, like, can you go do this for me? Can you, like, or like one of my friends calls me. What if one of my friends calls me and he like has something important to tell me when it's during my loop creation time? It's gonna mess everything up and now I'm gonna get stressed. You feel me? So it's like I've tried that. I can see it working for other people, but it doesn't necessarily work for me. It's really efficient and it does like get stuff done for sure. But what's been happening with me that I've been doing lately that I have been enjoying and finding much more success in with like what I want to do with life right now is like having like a to-do list every single day. So I'll just get like a whiteboard and it'll say like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to have all the days laid out. And I'll just write like, okay, I want to work on this kit today. Tomorrow I want to do XYZ. The next day I want to do that. And then I just make sure I cross everything off those lists.
And like going back kinda to this prisoner thing, because I think a lot of people gotta understand it, because when somebody didn't locked in so much, he won't understand what we talking about. But when you lock in for some time, like you got some goals and you're working on something, it's gonna get so lonely and weird at some point that you really tryna have this balance a lot. You're gonna crave for it, because there is a point when you like have enough of it and you just wanna like go outside, do something. So I think people should really focus on that balance too, because a lot of people gotta force themselves to lock in. But then when you lock in too much, let me say, if it's possible, you will kinda crave for that social life as well, because it's gonna get weird, in my opinion.
No, 100%. It's really easy to get into that habit, and then like your life is just wake up, make music, go to sleep, and that's like just not a good life to have, unless that's what you like. If you like it, then hey, I love it. You feel me? Good for you. But I feel like for a majority majority of people, there needs to be balance. And also, when you start doing it full time, it gets really dangerous because you don't see people accidentally. You feel me? Like your social skills will just go out the window. Like for me, at this point in my life, I have to make sure I'm being social all the time. You feel me? Like if I don't wake up and hit up my friends, or if I don't say yes when my friends hit me up to go hang out and stuff like that, I will not see people. But someone who's doing like music part-time and they go to a job part-time, like, or they go to school or something like that, like you wake up, you go to school, you're around people, you're around your friends, you go to work, you're around your work friends, and like you still have like some type of social balance. When you start doing it full time, it's like you're just in the house every day. You feel me? And like you have to make sure that you're getting that social time so you're like a normal person.
Yeah, agree 100%. Going backtrack a little bit, do you work with producers in studio or with artists sometimes? Like I know you mostly in your room like doing content stuff, but do you like travel sometimes to really lock in with some producer? Because I probably saw you on other videos with other producers that do content. So can you talk about this a little bit?
Yeah, of course. So I do go to studio sessions with artists and other producers and stuff like that. But when I do it, it's usually always for fun. It's never really like I'm trying to like lock in with like an artist or something like that. And I'm trying to like build this connection and everything. It's just more of like, oh yeah, that sounds cool. Like, yeah, I'm down. Cause I've just been, like I said, I've been trying to have more balance. So I've been trying to say yes to more things. So when people be like, oh, like, hey, do you want to go to like the studio and then we can just make beats? I'm like, yeah, I'll go. And then I'll go and it's like, hey, we should hit up this one rapper to come over, this one singer to come over. And then things kind of like build like that. So I'm not necessarily going out of my way to make it like a business effort, but like if it does happen like randomly sometimes.
And like about networking, would you say that when you do content, it kind of do itself, or like you just still gotta try to network with other producers because now you got a channel, now you got this and that, people can see you, or maybe they recognize you anyway. So do you hit up people, bigger producers and stuff, you network, or like you just chilling, let me say?
Yeah, no, you still have to network for sure because like there's a saying that goes like closed mouths don't get fed. If you're not out there trying to get what you want and everything like that, or if you're not out there trying to do what you need to do, then like it's just not going to happen for you. Even though like people will know you from like doing content and stuff like that, it's not really going to bring in all the results if you're not like actively networking. But I will say that when you do content, it is a cheat code for networking because when you're trying to talk to somebody and you're trying to connect and network and stuff like that, it is 100 times easier if they've seen you before and they know of you. It makes it so much easier. It's like it kind of like almost breaks the ice. You feel me? So it's definitely important to do both 100%.
Yeah, right. And when you do content, sometimes people, bigger people or people you just knew and be like, oh, I know this guy, they gonna hit you up. Like first, it's a cheat code for real.
Yeah. I mean, there was a situation where it was like really early in my career too. Like I was still like very new to making content. There was like a bigger producer that I was like a fan of. And I was like, oh, like he bought one of my MIDI kits. Like that's crazy. And then I was like, I just like DM'd him afterwards. And he's like, oh yeah, man, I just got one of your MIDI kits. And then me and him ended up working. And then we got like big songs with like some other like bigger artists and stuff like that. And it was just like, that's just like a prime example of how like that content stuff can work in your favor. Because like if I didn't know him, he didn't know me, he's never saw me or anything like that, making that connection would have been way, way harder and would have had to take way more work. But since he was already kind of familiar with me, it was just more of like hey man, let's just get some work done. And it just makes it way easier.
Yeah, right. And last question I got is like, what would you say about the dealing with the hate and like not only the internet trolls or whatever, like, but the people around you when you're trying to do this full time or whatever, when you're trying to like come up in this industry or whatever, just like make it, how you should deal with all of that stuff, like the art basically.
So, dude, when it comes to people like spreading hate, people being negative around you, in my personal experience, they're always miserable. Anybody who really puts hate out there is just like miserable in their own life. So they're projecting out those feelings to other people. And when I realized that, I didn't really hate people who were hating that much. You feel me? I felt more empathy. So now when I see people who are hating, like I kind of just feel bad for them because I know that like for a majority of the time, their own life is probably miserable. You know what I mean? Because like when you talk to people who are truly happy in life, and you talk to people who are like doing well in life and stuff like that, people who are actually good people, they don't do that stuff. Like think of all like the positive people in your life. Like they're not like out there doing troll comments. You feel me? They're not out there like putting people down. It's always the people who are like miserable in their own life.
Yeah, facts. Like the positive people and people who achieve something and stuff, they probably gonna like stay you, keep going, and like not tryna, you know, judge you or anything.
100%.
Alright, bro, let's cook up something.
It's good, man. Let's do some, bro. Melody is definitely interesting, something I'm not used to hearing, but I think it's going to turn out really cool. Let's do 1/3 step and then just roll it up. Probably gonna turn it down a little bit. I usually like having my clap hit like -3. Like that, that's cool. Maybe we can just use that as like an impact. Just have it like echo out. Okay, so usually I would put them like right here, then I put them like right here on the 3, but I think I'm gonna do like alternating ones just to make sure that it's not too repetitive. That's hard. There you go. Where is it, bro? You know what I'm looking for, bro.
Nah, there's.
You know what I'm looking for, bro.
Yeah.
That's hard. Bop, bop, bop. I like sounding it out, bro. You know what? Let's go crazy. You feel me? Let's use a different 808 for the second half. So I'll do the envelope thing. Ooh. I'm probably gonna make this. I'm gonna boost this first 808, but it's gonna be less boosted than the second one. So when the second one hits, you notice the change like way more. You feel me? Because like if I make them the same like volume and the same amount of like boostedness, like it's not gonna hit as hard. That discrepancy, that little change is gonna make a difference for sure. I like this one. That's hard. You know, that's cool, but I just don't think it needs to be in the beat. I feel like we're kind of getting to the point where like I'm realizing it's done. And anything I try to add, it's just like, it's kind of unnecessary. Let's do quick arrangement then. You know what? Sometimes with my beats, I'll kind of like boost the high end or maybe like a little bit of those high mids or some of the lows and stuff like that. But I feel like with how like the hi-hats and the claps and stuff like that already have enough high end. And I feel like if I do push it, it's probably going to get kind of harsh and stuff like that. So I think I'm gonna just leave it like this. I think we're good.
Yeah, so the beat came out fire, bro.
Yeah, I'm really happy with how it came out. Like, I ain't gonna lie, when you first started the melody, I was like, ooh, I don't know what's going on here, man. But because like it was just something I was just so not used to hearing. But then when everything came together at the very end, I was like, oh wait, no, this is hard. And then I had the opportunity to put drums on it, which just made it even like way harder to me. So seeing the end result, I'm really happy with it.
Yeah, thanks. So appreciate you pulling up today, man. A lot of gems, a lot of value. So thank you for that. You can share with us if you got any kits on the way, any plans, what you working on right now.
Nah, it's all good. It's all about you right now, bro. Come on. It's
Appreciate
good.
that.
Appreciate y'all. If y'all want to follow me, it's probably Infinite. But other than that, you know what I mean? It's about the boy EVZ right now.
Yes, sir. And how you like the kit?
Kit was dope. I could definitely see that y'all took the extra step to make things a little bit different from your normal usual sound.
So yeah, stay tuned guys and go follow Infinite on Instagram and YouTube.
Peace out.
Dzięki za oglądanie, a jeśli chcesz powinąć sobie Lunatic Production Suite, którego użyliśmy do zrobienia całego bitu od początku do końca, to kliknij pierwszy link w opisie. Zapraszam również na mojego Discorda dla producentów, mamy tam prawie 2000 członków, link również znajduje się w opisie. Tyle ode mnie, pozdro.